In my last video I had a very large gun with a very large round, and it was the DA50 BMG, and if you hadn't seen it you need to click on this link right here because it is an awesome gun. Today I have not strayed far from that concept with this, the Taurus Raging Bull 44 Magnum. It is also a very large gun with a very large round. The 44 Magnum is nothing like a 50 BMG, but for a handgun it still packs a lot of punch. Yep, a lot of fun. The Raging Bull's actually been on my bucket list for quite a while. This has been one of those guns that as soon as you see it, you're like, wow, that is really cool. I saw one in a store, and the thing that really sells you on it is the size. When you see it in the pictures, you don't realize that this thing is a 52 ounce, 10-inch beast. It's only a 6.5-inch barrel, but the way the shape of the frame, the way it extends out the back, when you hold it, that's a big gun in your hand. And the reason it's so large is it is actually meant to chamber the 4.54 Casual 2, and which is also, you can use a 45 long Colt and a 410 shotgun shell if you have that chamber as well. So it is meant to hold some pretty big pressures. Therefore you can get the 44 Magnum version, which is the one I have. I like the 44 Magnum round. I think it's a great round. Fairly expensive though. I bought some ammo yesterday. I was surprised. It was like $60 for 50 rounds. So I'm gonna have to reload some of that stuff if I'm gonna keep buying it. A little more than I wanted to spend, $1 a piece. Just from the few times I've fired it this morning, the first couple things I noticed, and I'll just show you while I'm swinging it around too, that it's empty. There's nothing in there. We'll spin it around, and the trigger pull is really good. The double action, of course, is a big long pull, but it's smooth, it's not heavy, and it actually, when it releases from the sear, it's super smooth. There's no pull back and you wait for that big release. It's the same the whole length, and it's really nice. And then of course the single action, the trigger is almost in the very back of the trigger guard, which is right where you want it, and it does have a very nice, clean, crisp trigger pull too in the single action. So I was really surprised by how nice the trigger was on this thing. Now it is a fairly expensive gun, as is all 44 Magnums and hand cannons. It does run up around the $860 mark, and depending on what round you get for it, I think if you get the 4.54 Casual, it's actually a little more expensive. It's over $1,000. So it is pretty pricey, and you're getting up into the price range where you could actually buy a Smith & Wesson, or a Ruger Super Blackhawk, or some of the bigger brand names. Taurus is not a huge brand name. They're actually out of Brazil, so it's not something people are super familiar with, which is why they may pick something else before this. But I'm here to tell you, this is a great gun. If you come across one of these things, don't be afraid. Couple of features of the gun. The first thing I noticed was that to open the chamber, there's actually two releases. You actually have to use both hands. A lot of revolvers just have the one thumb release, which is nice because you can push it, open it, and reload with your other hand. This one's a little bit different. There are two releases. This one is up in front of the cylinder, this one's behind the cylinder, and with the two thumbs you push down and back and then push through with your fingers, and out she comes. Here's another neat thing that Taurus does that I think is completely proprietary to them. They're the only ones I've ever seen that have this. They send you this little key, and I didn't know what it was when I first got it. And it's nice, lit up well, orange key, you know, it has a keychain on it so you can connect it to your keys. And here in Canada, you know, by law, you have to have your guns locked up very well. Handguns have to be safe, unloaded, blah, blah, blah. Trigger locks, transportation. But in some countries, they don't need that. People do have guns just laying around. People sleep with them under their pillow.
Details still a little limited, but Peoria police tell us last night the little boy was playing on a bed with his grandma at this house when he somehow found a gun either under a pillow or blankets and shot himself.
I think as a prevention for people that shouldn't be holding and firing the gun, this is a safety mechanism which goes right in behind the hammer, and if you want to lock the gun so it's unusable, you just stick it in that Allen key, you turn it just a little bit, and what it does is it completely locks up the hammer and the trigger so that the gun is useless. You can't fire it, and you need this little key to do it. It looks like an Allen key, but it's actually hollow in the middle, so you can't just stick an Allen key in there to do it. And all you need to do when you get your gun to the range or wherever you need it for is you just unlock it, turn it a little bit counterclockwise, maybe a little more than that. There it goes. It's got a click. You actually hear a click when it unlocks, and there she goes. So very cool. Safety, good thinking Taurus, something that's easy to safety. You don't need, you know, a trigger lock and all that crap. You just click and turn, have it right on your key ring or hidden somewhere at home. And that's a nice little safety mechanism to keep your kids away from this stuff if they shouldn't be touching it. The sights I've already mentioned are fully adjustable in the rear, which is awesome. You can go elevation and windage, and it's very simple maneuvers with just a flathead screwdriver up and down, side to side. My one complaint about the sights is I wish they did something to the front sight, because it's black front and back, and when you do line up and get your sight picture, you know, there's no dots, there's no color, there's nothing to kind of catch your eye and give you that contrast to know that you're completely lined up. So that's one thing I would have liked better, is something a little better to show up your sights when you're actually looking at your sight picture. It does have this oversized rubber grip, which is awesome, and it has the finger grooves, and this thing just fits in your hand just perfect. I haven't tried firing it with one hand yet. Actually, why not? Let's try it out. I got a zombie down there. Get some rounds in my pocket. Get one up there where it needs to be. All right, zombie. I guess I gotta be this way for the hit the zombie. Right through the eye. Not bad. And the recoil, once again, another great feature of this gun is it has these porting holes on the top, or which I would also call a muzzle brake. The idea is when you shoot the gun, it expels the gases upwards, which helps keep the muzzle down and therefore kind of reduces the recoil a little bit, and then you get that nice fat rubber grip so you don't get so much shock in your hand as well. And the whole idea of it works really well. One hand, no problem. It's a really easy to shoot gun for a big caliber like a 44 Magnum. Just gonna shoot a group at Mr. Zombie down there on his head and see what we can get. Wow, man. I think we need to take the camera off and go take a look at that. I impress myself sometimes. Those are about, you know, oh, we're gonna say 25, 30 yards away. And I have hardly any practice with that gun. That's probably the third cylinder I've gone through since I got here. No problem, just knocking off heads, 30 yards. The single shot, that was a one-handed shot right through the eye. And I just can't say enough about it. It's an awesome gun. If you got a good chance to get one, go out and get one. You'll be happy you did. Let's see some more shooting. Well, it's been a fun day. I only got one shot left. So, you know, let's have some fun with it. I'm gonna take it from the front to the back, and there's one steel target down there. Oh, must be 30 yards. So one hand, one shot, knock down the steel, impress somebody. That's the game anyway. Let's see what happens, baby. Make sure you can see what I'm doing too. No, I'm not fibbing. I don't fib. I only show awesome guns. Yep, awesome guns.